Hello, this is Chris of Magoosh, and today I'm going to try to answer a question that so many people have asked me over the years. How do I get a perfect 170 on the GRE Verbal section? Yes, I'll tell you, and I'll start off by saying it's very hard. Of course, you didn't come here to hear that, but it's an important starting off point. But it really helps if you already are an avid reader, especially if you're reading a lot of academic publications, not necessarily academic papers, but more scholastic kind of stuff, the stuff you would see on aldaily.com, great site to check out if you haven't already, and just getting used to that type of expression and level of language. Now, it will also really help if you have already a very big vocabulary. And those two things, reading those sophisticated articles and having a big vocabulary, aren't always the same thing, but they do inform each other. So if you are that avid reader, but you notice you don't always know all the words, then it's a good idea to probably really brush up on your GRE vocabulary, look at the GRE vocabulary lists, high frequency words, hard words. Don't by any means just open up the dictionary and look for something, some word that you don't know the definition to. And by the way, shameless plug for my GRE vocabulary workbook. It's back there. There's lots of high frequency, difficult GRE words in there. Now, what else? What else is really going to help you? Well, it's really going to help you to understand how the verbal section is put together. For instance, there's this question type called sentence equivalence, and you may have a large, Brobdingnagian, I was thinking of a large word, which means very big or colossal, vocabulary. It'd be great at reading all these scholarly articles, but if you don't understand the ins and outs and the idiosyncrasies of certain question types, like sentence equivalence, then it's easy to get something wrong because you misunderstood how the prompt actually functioned and what was required of you. So you want to know all these little things. You also want to understand when you do miss questions, why you got them wrong. What was your reasoning? What was your logical error? And then look at the test right answer and try to understand how they arrived at that correct answer, why they consider that correct, but your own answer wrong. And really picking up on those fine distinctions, especially on the reading comprehension section, is going to make that difference between like a 167, yay, I did really well, versus the perfect 170. So those are just some of the things that are top of mind, that are important, that I would tell anyone. But I didn't mention everything, because you could have all of those things. You could be rearing to go. In fact, I could be rearing to go for my 170, and then there was the other night where like some animal woke me up at like 4:30. I don't know. Didn't get back to sleep, so it's kind of like all day long. Kind of an extreme situation. But my point here is, if you're not on test day, whether it's because you didn't sleep well, or you're overly stressed, or as oftentimes happens, you have a bad experience getting to the testing center, traffic was much worse than you thought, and you're stressed out and you're rushing, all of those things can actually affect your performance test day. And of course, that's a generic thing to say, oh, obviously that can affect your performance, but here we're talking about perfection. You're going for that 170. Just that one little iota molecule of stress floating around in your body can kind of derail your attention on that one or two critical questions. And so that's the idea, is that a 170 is very difficult to get. You can control for only so many things, and you can still likely get it, but keep the things I talked about in mind today. Again, reviewing the right sources, understanding how the test works, learning from your mistakes, but even at the end of the day, just take a deep breath and know that some things are beyond your control, but hopefully you do get a good sleep and you arrive to the testing center with plenty of time.